absolutely dreadful. This damn dump just can't get out of its own way.
The WNBA referees simply playing against Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Did not have control over the players. They did not have control over the game.
The WNBA refs have done it again, and this time they've sparked an all-out firestorm.
Starting to wonder if some of this drama with Caitlin Clark is being manufactured.
Caitlin Clark, the league's brightest star, was blatantly disrespected, left unprotected, and caught in the middle of the controversial game last night. Now it has turned into a scandal bigger than you think.
You know, the WNBA referees has been having issues with getting these calls right when it comes to Caitlin Clark and the Fever, bruh.
How did the WNBA refs manage to turn themselves into the league's biggest controversy? This isn't just a bad whistle here or there. It's a full-on meltdown that's got everyone talking. And at the center of this storm, the league's brightest star, Caitlin Clark, left unprotected and disrespected like never before.
There's too much bumping, there's too much grabbing. Normally, that is okay in this league, but I don't think Caitlin likes other women holding her hand.
Clark isn't just a player, she's a phenomenon. The kind of player who can light up the court and carry an entire team on her back. And yet, game after game, she's treated like an afterthought by the very officials who are supposed to ensure fairness. We're not talking about a few tough plays. We're talking blatant fouls, dangerous shoves, and a complete lack of accountability from the refs. It's chaos.
The refs did not have control over the players. They did not have control over the game for pretty much the entire game. The game was chippy from the jump. It was physical from the jump.
The Indiana Fever face off against the Connecticut Sun in what should have been just another competitive WNBA game. Instead, it turned into a primetime showcase of referee incompetence. And no, we're not exaggerating. This game was a disaster from the jump, and the refs were front and center in all the wrong ways.
And then in the third quarter, Sheldon poked her in the eye. Again, this is something we see all the time. They were on each other. They were talking. It was trashy. The superstar like MJ, unstoppable.
It starts with JC Sheldon. Out of nowhere, she decides Caitlin Clark's eye needs a closer look at her finger. A poke to the eye. Not accidental, not subtle. You'd think the refs would blow the whistle, call a flagrant foul, or maybe at least check on Clark. Nope, nothing.
Occurred in the fourth quarter, which was, it took, the referees like 10 minutes to decide what to do. They ended up ejecting a bunch of players.
This is the reason why we haven't seen Caitlin at 100%. We haven't seen her as quick as we saw her last season.
Clark barely has time to recover before Marina Mabrey comes barreling in, shoving her to the ground like it's a wrestling match, not basketball. And guess what? Mabrey gets a technical foul. Just a technical. Not an ejection, not a flagrant, a simple, hey, don't do that from the refs.
But Caitlin Clark fans have a point. The increased physicality that's being allowed is throwing her off. It's gotten so bad, opposing head coaches, they're calling out the officiating themselves.
Now here's where it gets laughable. After all this chaos, the refs suddenly find their whistles. They decide to hand out technical fouls like Oprah handing out cars. You get a tech. You get a tech. Clark, Mabrey, and even Sun forward Tina Charles get slapped with technicals. For what? Breathing too loudly? Looking at the refs the wrong way? The inconsistency is staggering. The fans are furious and the players are confused. And the refs? Clueless.
Mabrey's technical foul from the Fever Sun game has been upgraded to a flagrant 2, the league told ESPN.
And let's not forget the aftermath. The league later reviews Mabrey's foul and upgrades it to a flagrant 2. Mabrey should have been ejected, but the refs somehow missed that during the actual game. Too little, too late, WNBA. Fans were already calling this game a joke, and this move only solidified that sentiment.
From that game, the most viral clip has to be Sophie Cunningham's hard foul on JC Sheldon that turned into a fight between the two of them. Like I told you guys, more players were involved.
Let's talk about Sophie Cunningham because she came out of this game looking like a warrior. When the refs wouldn't protect Clark, Sophie stepped up. Was her flagrant foul on JC Sheldon over the top? Maybe, but was it necessary? Absolutely.
Sophie Cunningham was fined separately for her hard foul with 40 seconds left to play.
Cunningham's ejection was the spark that ignited a bigger conversation. Fans were torn. Some criticized her for losing her cool, but most rallied behind her.
It was just a buildup of things. There was a lot of stuff. Tensions were high. That was the moment for Sophie to commit a hard foul, and she did that.
If the refs won't do their job, Sophie will, one fan tweeted. And honestly, they weren't wrong. Cunningham's actions might have crossed the line, but they highlighted an important issue. If the officials can't keep the game fair and safe, players are left to fend for themselves.
There were dirty plays that were happening from the jump, and the referees didn't do their job. And because they didn't do their job properly, all of the extra things happened during the game.
But what does this say about the league? When players feel the need to take matters into their own hands, it's a clear sign that something is broken. The WNBA is supposed to be a professional league with top-tier officiating. Instead, we're getting games that feel like a free-for-all.
I think the refs had a lot to do with that. It was a build-up for a couple of years now of them just not protecting, the star player of the WNBA. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to protect my teammates. That's what I do.
This game wasn't just a bad night for the refs. It was a wake-up call for the entire league. Fans, players, and legends like Cheryl Swoops are all demanding change. The WNBA can't afford to let this slide. If the referees can't handle the heat, the league needs to step in and fix the system. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and the Indiana Fever deserved better. The fans deserved better. And until the league takes action, this controversy isn't going anywhere.
And a lot of fans were really upset about this because if Marina Mabrey's foul during the game was called a flagrant 2, like it was upgraded to, then she would have been ejected during the game. And I don't think any of this stuff with Sophie and JC would have happened at the end of the game.
Let's talk about the WNBA's favorite move lately, the post-game adjustment. You know, where they wait until everything's said and done. Game over, damage done, and then go, oh, by the way, that foul, yeah, it was way worse than we called it. Case in point, Marina Mabrey's infamous shove during the Fever vs. Sun game. During the game, the refs called it a technical foul, just a slap on the wrist, nothing serious. But then, after the game, the league reviews it and decides, oh wait, that should have been a flagrant 2. Really? You figured that out after everyone went home?
If she would have been ejected at that point in time, I think it would have set the tone for the rest of the game.
Here's the problem. Upgrading the foul after the fact doesn't change anything. Mabrey should have been ejected during the game. The Fever should have had the advantage of playing against a weakened Sun team. But nope. The refs missed the call, and now all we get is a little note saying, oops, our bad. It's like a referee version of thoughts and prayers. It feels hollow and doesn't fix the actual problem.
Most of the world was fed up with everything that was going on the court. They're fed up with the refs. They're fed up with the physicality getting to a point where players can get injured. And a lot of people were like, you know what? Finally, there's an enforcer on the court.
Fans were quick to call out the absurdity. One tweet said, so the WNBA can watch game tape and admit mistakes, but can't figure it out in real time. Make it make sense. And they're right. If we can see the foul on live TV from our couches, why can't the officials standing a few feet away? It's embarrassing.
Leagues have been protecting their star players for decades. Hell, businesses protect their assets, their stars.
This isn't just a WNBA problem, though. Other sports leagues have had their share of officiating controversies. But here's the difference. Leagues like the NBA or NFL have systems in place to address it as it happens. They use instant replays, coaches' challenges, and even post-game press conferences where refs are held accountable. In the WNBA, crickets. No transparency, no explanations, just a vague statement that things will be reviewed. And that's not even the worst part. Without a transparent system to address referee mistakes in real time, these bad calls keep piling up. Players get frustrated, games spiral out of control, and the league's reputation takes a hit. It's a mess. Now let's talk about Cheryl Swoops. If you don't know who she is, first of all, where have you been? She's a WNBA legend, a 3-time MVP and Hall of Famer. So when Cheryl speaks, you listen. And let me tell you, she did not hold back. After the recent debacle with the refs, experts went public with a scathing critique. They called the officiating a complete disgrace and warned that if something doesn't change, players are going to get seriously hurt. The refs need to take control of these games before someone ends up in the hospital. And they're not wrong. If the story intrigued you, make sure to subscribe to the channel.
If the referees ain't gonna do it, somebody gotta do something, right?
When refs fail to maintain control, it's not just about missed calls, it's about safety. Players like Caitlin Clark are left exposed to unnecessary physicality, and that's how injuries happen. Swoop's frustration echoes what many fans and players have been saying for weeks. This isn't just bad officiating, it's dangerous.
So, why in the hell does the WNBA continue to refuse to protect their cash cow?
And Swoops isn't alone in calling out the league. Sports journalists and commentators have been piling on as well, labeling the officiating as inconsistent and amateurish. One columnist even wrote, "The WNBA is supposed to be a professional league, not a pickup game at the Y. Get it together." Harsh, but fair. This isn't just criticism for the sake of criticism, it's a wake-up call. When legends like Swoops, who've spent their careers building the league, start speaking out, you know it's serious. They're not just complaining, they're demanding accountability, fairness, and respect for the game.
You have to protect your star. This is non-negotiable. This is not up for debate.
So, where does the WNBA go from here? It's clear the league needs a complete overhaul when it comes to officiating. That means real-time systems to review calls, transparent explanations for decisions, and most importantly, referees who can actually do their jobs. Because right now it feels like the refs are just winging it, and that's not good enough.
You have got to protect your star player. You have to protect the only player that is capable of generating interest in a league that is otherwise mostly unwatchable. Teams are allowed to be overly physical and they're not being called for fouls.
The league owes it to its players, its fans, and its legends to get this right. Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and every other player putting their bodies on the line deserve better. The fans who pour their time, money, and passion into the league deserve better. And honestly, the game itself deserves better. The WNBA has a chance to fix this before it becomes a full-blown crisis. The question is, will they take it? Or will we be here next season, talking about the same problems, with the same refs, making the same mistakes? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure, the pressure is on, and the league better step up.
Put these TikToks together, put these videos together, kind of, breaking down everything that has happened with the WNBA referees, because we have another game and we have another situation where WNBA referees fail to make the right calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever.
Let's dive into the numbers because they don't just tell a story, they scream it. The WNBA officiating scandal isn't just a matter of bad calls here and there. It's backed up by cold, hard data that's as shocking as it is frustrating. Let's start with the free throw disparity. In the Fever's recent game against the New York Liberty, the free throw differential was minus 31. Yes, you heard that right. 31 more trips to the line for the Liberty. It's like the refs decided, you know what? Let's just give the Liberty a 31-point head start and see how it plays out. What's even more maddening is that this isn't a one-off incident. The Fever and Caitlin Clark consistently find themselves on the wrong side of these calls.
Anyway, Caitlin Clark, struggling. If you look at her stat line, it's similar to what we are used to seeing from Angel Reese.
Look at Caitlin Clark herself. She's known for her aggressive drives and fearless plays, yet she's not getting the calls you'd expect for someone of her caliber. Meanwhile, her opponents seem to get whistles for the slightest touch. It's almost comical, except it's not because it's costing her team games. And the fans, they've noticed. Social media is littered with breakdowns of these disparities. One viral post even compiled footage of nearly identical plays. Clark gets hit, no call, her opponent barely gets brushed, and it's an instant foul. The caption, "Is this incompetence or something deeper?" A fair question, considering how blatant the pattern has become.
Things are happening quickly and being able to mesh. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I think we've seen that in sports for a long time.
Now let's talk about the fallout, because this isn't just affecting the players. It's ignited a full-blown movement. Fever head coach Stephanie White has had enough. After the Liberty game, she didn't hold back, calling out the officiating in her post-game remarks. She pointed out the absurd free throw gap and questioned the lack of respect her team seems to get from the refs. "We're fighting an uphill battle, not just against our opponents, but against the officiating," she said. Ouch.
You can't blame WNBA officials when you're 1 of 23 from 3. But Caitlin Clark fans have a point. The increased physicality that's being allowed is throwing her off.
And she's not alone. Fans have rallied behind the Fever, flooding social media with support. Hashtags like Thogger Respect Caitlin and Thogger Fix the Refs have been trending, and it's clear people are fed up. Some fans have even started petitions demanding better officiating and more accountability from the league. It's like the WNBA's version of a grassroots revolution. The question now is whether the WNBA will finally take action. The league's reputation is on the line. Fans are demanding transparency. Players are demanding respect. And the numbers? They're impossible to ignore. If the WNBA wants to maintain its credibility, it's time to step up. Fix the officiating. Address the disparities. Show the players and fans that you're listening. Because right now, the league's silence is deafening, and it's not a good look. Players deserve better, the game deserves better, and it's time the WNBA does better. Like this video and subscribe to the channel to know more about basketball stories.